Today I'm sitting down with OSIN's founder and my dad, Ralph Booth. Thanks, Dad.
Thanks, Harry.
So I know there'll be people out there watching who don't really know what you've been working on. So can you tell us, what is Loop?
Loop is a personal circadian desk lamp. What I wanted to do is actually bring a slice of the blue sky, think a nice blue summer day, take a slice of that and bring it to your desk. And it's important to do that because it just happens that the blue sky is a spectrum that we all need to entrain our circadian rhythms.
Where did the idea for a product like Loop even come from?
Well, Harry, I've worked in lighting now for over 20 years, and I always just thought light, and that's what most people think, light was just so that we can see. But learning that light has a definitive effect on our biology really intrigued me, and I wasn't excited about it, and I naively thought that, wow, now that we know this, that all buildings will start having the spectrum. If they can't have the natural daylight integration, that their overhead lighting would end up with the spectrum in it that would ensure proper circadian alignment. Well, for various reasons that hasn't happened. So I guess that was the first catalyst for developing the Loop. Secondly, I guess really more on a somber tone, my wife and your mother got leukemia 10 years ago, and as part of that treatment regime, Alan ended up in isolation for long periods of time. And the lighting in there was in those days was fluorescent overhead lighting. You had a bedhead light, and there was some daylight integration, but it was two-way glass because it was on ground level, and it was so dark, dim, and spectrum would have been so altered. I knew that she wasn't getting the light that her biology needed right at a time when you're trying to heal, when you need it. And at that time, I knew that there was a new hospital being designed, and I knew it was going to have new isolation wards in it, or rooms, and I naively thought at the very least they would have circadian lighting designed into them. I can tell you now that didn't happen, and that's driven me to try and address this problem, and that's why we launched OSIN and developed a product like the Loop.
So was there a penny drop moment for you when you're kind of coming up with an idea for a product like Loop?
Actually there was. We went out for dinner in a tavern in St Heliers in Auckland, and I was with Serge, who's our CEO at OSIN, and another one of our lighting people, and we were having a very big debate, which was not uncommon, about how we're going to address this and make a difference in this world. And I sort of had a penny drop moment. And why are we doing this for buildings? We need to do this for people, and we need to start focusing on individuals. Back to that isolation room. I could put the Loop in there and make a difference for each one of those patients.
Why is it blue sky that is, or this kind of light of a blue sky that matters?
Well, it just happens that the colour of blue sky is we're going to talk now, the peak sensitivity in the human eye for those photoreceptors that actually actually give the signal to our brain to align our circadian rhythm, happens to be that blue sky colour. And if you look at modern LED spectrum, we just happen to have a big dip in that point. So what we're doing as a supplement is bringing that blue sky to your desk to fill in the dip that modern lighting has, to make sure that you're getting the right amount of the blue sky light to work with your biology.
So who's the Loop for?
The Loop is primarily for anyone who has what I term has a compromised relationship with light. What does that mean? If you spend a majority of your time indoors working, you have a compromised relationship with light. We've designed it primarily first up for office workers because they tend to be desk bound, and they tend to have They spend a majority of the time indoors. For millennia, we've had very bright days and very dark nights, and it's only really in the last 100 years, with the advent of model artificial lighting, the way we design our buildings and the way we work in them, that we're really started interfering with that.
Well, I know there'll be a lot of people watching who are pretty eager to get their hands on their very own loop. When will it be available?
The loop will be launched, ready for sale in March 2022.
Can you give us a date?
No, I cannot, because there's a lot of factors that'll actually give us the actual date. But I will give you my word, it's going to be March 2022.
Well, thank you very much for your time today, Dad, and make sure that you tune in next week, where I'll be sitting down with Dan Wilkinson, the product designer behind the loop.